myself, George Zunian, Lance Morris, and Glenn Fowler, and William McKinley will be our alternate for the day. Do we have any comments from the board members?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
And staff? And assessor? Wow, no comments. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 1. First of all, are there any applicants present today?
Mr. Chairman, the entire gallery staff, so.
The entire gallery staff, okay. So there are no applicants showing up today. That means that we have everything under control.
We do.
Okay. So can you give us an idea where we are with agenda item number 2?
I can. In fact, it might be easier to summarize several at one time. Agenda items number 2 through 7 all appear to be with the same tax representative. There are various scenarios that exist, but we have been in contact with them working to resolve the cases. I will tell you the majority of these are either no changes recommended because we're already treating it with a value reduction, or we've come to some settlement outside of the hearing and they've just failed to appear this morning.
Okay. So in effect, these are going to be non-appearances?
Correct.
Or withdrawals?
Actually, the clerk received withdrawals on the 14th for all of them except for number 7.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Withdrawals were received for items number 2 through 6. We did not receive a withdrawal for number 7.
Okay.
And 8, 9, and the rest of the...
Well, 8, you need to do something.
Okay, what are we going to do with agenda item number 8? It just so happens that I know Gene Busby, and he's
I'm
obviously
sorry,
not here.
you did not get the updated agenda.
No.
It was emailed last week, and unfortunately, our new clerk didn't realize that we all expected to get the printout, have it waiting for us on the on the dais. So,
Okay.
do we want to get an updated one, or you want to just, because I don't have the old one now, so I don't know. No, but I don't know if that was 2 through 6 on the old one or 2 through 6 on the new one.
It's 2 through 6 on the agenda that you haven't sent me.
They don't have that agenda in front of them.
What agenda do they have?
They have the one that was mailed out with the packet. They don't have the updated one. I threw away my old one.
It's this agenda, Barbara. It should be the same. It's this agenda.
But item 8 is not Fruit Patch on theirs.
We have another item.
Oh,
We need to be
have
working
9.
off the same, are you going to go make copies of it, or are you going to work off the draft?
Okay. Let me go grab agendas that are out in the front there.
okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
This is the first time, and it makes no difference. We can wait to go over this. But this is the first time that anybody has attempted to email anything to us. Ordinarily, we usually get it through the mail, or I
Yeah.
come and pick it up. So is that going to be the trend? That
No, it will be through the mail.
it'll be through the mail? Okay, good.
She just didn't realize that the prior clerks had, even if they sent updates by email, that they would print out hard copies to be waiting for us
Yes.
on the dais. So we'll go back to that procedure in June.
Mr. Busby? Welcome. You'd like to have a seat? Okay, so we have
Okay.
withdrawals from agenda item 2 through 6.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
So the ones on the final agenda then, Fernandez, Mota, Shear, Phillip, and Codorniz. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Correct.
Okay, and going back to the status of Mr. Busby, Gene Busby, which has just arrived here, so I don't know if we're having a hearing on that or what's the status of it? Mr. Assessor?
For Mr. Busby, the real property came in below value, and so there's no change on the real property, but I was just contacted on Friday by the agent regarding the personal property, and I asked for details as far as depreciation schedule or something to see the details, but she has not provided anything as of yet. And so if we do anything, it'll probably have to be a continuance. It does look like there could be a reduction to the
Yeah,
personal
you're not
property.
ready to go.
I don't have any.
Yes, I understand. Okay,
This is an owner-occupied single-family dwelling? It is not. Oh, it was listed as one on the application.
We have a stipulation on file for the real property values. It's got a really old base year for the real property values. I believe it's like a 75 or an 80 base year. So those values are below market, but there is a sizable personal property assessment on the property. So that value is going to be contingent.
There's personal property based on what was reported in 2010, but we haven't received a reporting since then.
okay.
So it's not a single-family owner-occupied?
It is, but there's also a business-type entity there.
Okay.
Well,
Then,
Well, but it's on the schedule, so we need to call it and
will it be a
postponement.
continuance then?
Well, they've asked for postponement. We haven't considered, you would need to vote on that.
Yeah,
Do you
okay.
want to talk, you want to have Mr. Busby come up? Do you want to participate?
I would
Good.
probably, my conflict is Mr. Busby is also in the asphalt repair business and has done a couple of parking lots for me in the past. This is probably 20 years ago, though, but in effect, I believe that it would be only fair to both sides if I was to recuse myself.
Okay. So then we need to have the vice, do we have a vice chair? I've forgotten. Mr. Morris?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the panel for this
I have
matter,
to speak.
so the panel for this matter then is Mr. McKinley, Mr. Morris, and Mr. Fowler.
Okay. Sure. Do we want to have Mr. Busby come forward and state his, are we just going to ask for a continuance?
Well, if he's
Or a
agreeable to the postponement,
Okay.
I think,
Yeah, Mr. Busby, please come forward. And we were discussing your matter, and it sounds like there might be some more time that's required to settle the matter, and wondering if you're acceptable to a continuance.
No,
Either one.
Right here.
either one.
Yeah, either one.
I don't hear too well, so I'm just trying to, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I think she's clicked it.
Good morning.
Morning.
We were discussing your matter, and it sounds like there may be some more time required to settle your case.
What, I'd like to have a little more time. My present bookkeeper, Jeff Burrell, he passed away. It's been quite a little while ago. And,
Okay.
And I've got another one, but I've not got everything back in order like I really want it, for my
Okay.
tax papers,
Okay. The assessor would like to have a continuance for some more time. Is that acceptable by you as well?
Pardon?
To continue, would you like to extend the period of time that we can work on
Yes.
this matter? Is that okay with you?
That's why I needed extended time. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
This is a 2012 application, so how much time do we think is going to be required?
Well, really what I need is a depreciation schedule and tax return. So if we can take a look at that, we could resolve it pretty
So
quickly.
maybe we need to ask him to do a 2-year waiver just to be on the safe side?
Right, we could, tentatively plan it for the June hearing, but it'd probably
Just to
be
be,
safe.
because that's 5 months, so it's plenty of time really, but what we would like to ask Mr. Busby is, we're supposed to finish our job within 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And we're afraid that it might take a little bit longer, so would you be willing to waive that 2-year limit? for this board to resolve the case.
Okay, all right.
That's okay with you? We'll give you a form to do that.
Okay, what time would I have to be, what time would you be back in here, or?
Well, if you don't settle it with the assessor, then it would be scheduled again, and you'd get a new 45-day notice.
45-day notice?
Yeah, so you'd know well ahead of time
Okay.
when we would be considering it again.
Oh, you'll give me a notice of 45 days prior to coming in? and-
Yes, yes.
That'd be fine.
Okay, so the postponement motion then would be conditional on signing the 2-year waiver.
Okay, excellent.
Madam Clerk, if you'd get him a 2-year waiver form.
Okay, do I have a motion to continue?
Postpone, technically.
Postpone agenda item number 7, subject to the signature of a 2-year waiver.
That we postpone item number 7 on our agenda, subject to a continuance form or a waiver of the 2-year form.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We will we'll extend you. We'll have to have you sign a form on your way out, if we could,
Okay.
and then that'll give everybody some more time to settle your matter. And then if we need you to come back, we'll let you know 45 days before that.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
Excuse me. This is what I need. This is what I need.
Okay.
Turn back over to you now.
But now, number 8 on the final docket is Fruit Patch.
Okay.
That's why I was confused earlier.
Okay. See,
And regarding Fruit Patch, have we heard anything back from response from our?
We weren't planning to hear anything from the applicant. We were just planning to hear from the assessor.
Assessor.
And so presumably she'll be ready to talk to us in just a minute.
Okay.
We were ready for Fruit Patch. No problem. Just letting you know.
I have a handout.
As the board will recall, the board felt that the applicant did not overcome the burden that the assessor had done his job correctly. And the only remaining action that your board wanted to do was to determine the final values of everything on the parcel in exactly the format that they are listed on the roll so that the report to the tax collector can be correct.
So what I've submitted are the worksheets that we're kind of familiar with. The prior assessed values are on the top half for 2011 and 2012. And then the hearing results based on what they reported for the appeals hearing, which resulted in a little bit of an uplift in their equipment, is on the bottom half. So those should be the ending values. And then down in the notes section, I did the differences. So as you can see, the only things that really changed are the fixture value increased for 2011 by $1,131,690, and personal property decreased. It was just more of an allocation of the equipment by $720,858, with a total value change of $410,832. You want me to read in the new values, or is that?
No, we can either have the board do it, or how does the clerk want that? Are you okay with just this document? Or do we need to recite it for the record? I think it has to be recited for the record. Okay, we can have the board do it if you want, or either way.
Okay.
So we would want a motion to approve these as the taxable, as the full cash
Right.
value for these 2 years.
So I'm a little confused. Where is it that we're going to be reading the values
The
from? The
bottom
third
half.
page?
The
Bottom
bottom
half.
half of each page, there's one for 2011. Do you want me to read them in, and then you can vote on if you believe what I read
Yes,
in
can you
was
go
true?
Right here.
Oh, right there.
Part, yeah.
Okay, so you can go ahead and read those in with the motion.
Sure. Or Christie, you were going to do it? Yeah, it doesn't
Prefer.
matter.
Okay.
Okay, so for 2011, assessment number 029 120 015 000, application number 2011-00401. The new values for land, 130,175. Structural improvements, 9,510,595. Growing improvements, 18,295. Fixture value, 11,748,040. Personal property value, 1,557,282, with a total net value of 22,964,387. For the 2012 year, assessment number 029 120 015 000, application number 2012 00490. Land value, 139,610. Structural improvements, 9,700,807. Growing improvements, 22,568. Fixture value, 11,036,339. Personal property, 2,589,090. Total net value, $23,488,414.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the values as read in by the assessor?
I'll make a motion to accept the values presented by the assessor.
You have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Very good. Mr. Busby, are we all taken care of, or is there anything else that we need to do? Okay. Well, thank you very much, and they'll notify you as to when your hearing is coming up. Okay.
Madam Clerk, did he get the form signed? Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, so that takes care of agenda item number 8. Okay, then I believe we can go do our withdrawals. All of the rest of the items 9 through 14 are going to be denied for non-appearance. Is that correct?
I believe the clerk received this morning at least withdrawals on items numbered 10 through 14, so those would go to the withdrawal
Withdrawals.
calendar as well.
We have withdrawals? On,
Oh, 9.
all of them, 9 through 14? Okay.
Okay. So then we can go straight to our withdrawal calendar, starting with agenda item number 2, and include all of those items through 6 and 9 through 14, along with the withdrawal calendar. Any objections? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept items number 2 through 6 and 9 through 14, as well as the withdrawal calendar as withdrawn.
Hear a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Well, we've moved right along.
No closed session today?
What's that?
No need for a closed session today? No need for a closed session today.
Oh, yes, no closed session items. Then, are we now done with weed patch? In other words, is this?
We are done with fruit patch.
Fruit
Yes,
patch.
not weed patch. Although it may feel like weed patch after
I don't know where I got
different
that
hearings.
from, but it was so
There's a-
natural.
You must have been driving to Bakersfield or something.
Probably some company called Weed Patch. I do have two brief announcements, just, as a closure. A reminder that this board does not meet in April and May, so enjoy your tax season, and we'll see you in June.
Now that we've gotten all of our business taken care of, there were a couple of items that we were going to discuss regarding, one of them I thought we would discuss in June and ask the assessor regarding
Oh, yeah, we had asked for a brief, I'd asked your attorney to talk to you about a brief presentation on what happens in a disaster or catastrophe
Yeah.
because of the drought. And so we were hoping we could get that. I don't know if she talked to you about that. And then we thought we could wait for the assessor's annual presentation to do the second topic, which I forgot.
Which I think what was kind of interesting to me, and if we have the time to discuss it, the effect of the Williamson Act on the total assessment, the effect of the drought on the total assessment. In other words, have we gotten any indication that we may have any applicants coming in with, I guess they're called calamity losses regarding a drought?
We could potentially see that. We haven't started to fully wrap our proactive minds around how we're going to deal with the upcoming year. So there are a couple of ways we individually can affect the calculation in order to maybe help bring some immediate relief. And the thought process that we had was maybe to talk to the board in June about how we were going to go out and address that ahead of time so that we can prepare maybe not to have those applications come in.
There are some ways that it can be dealt with at the assessor level.
Yes.
Without having come to this board. People can file an individual application, or the assessor can initiate it. The interesting thing, when I went back and looked at the actual statutes after our last meeting, is they all assume a sudden calamity, after which the governor declares a disaster. And the governor has already declared a disaster. The local agency has already declared a disaster. How does that work under a statute that says a subsequent declaration of disaster? So can we just ignore that subsequent piece? I don't know.
I think the proactive addressing of it, Ms. Grunwald, would occur with the assessor's command to make sure that things are fairly assessed every year. So if there's some type of market condition that comes up, we're required to address that under the law. So we would be able to go out and preemptively look at those things without that declaration.
Yeah.
Well, you've been doing such a good job that we have very few good cases to really ponder over. We would appreciate it if you would bring us one or two for us to keep our mental thought patterns going.
I'll see what we can't do.
The other brief announcement I have is I wanted to introduce one of our new attorneys, Marit Erickson, is sitting back here in the green shirt for appropriate for the day.
Nice to meet you. Okay, nothing else? Then the, okay,
Conversation, it's nothing serious. But today when you recused yourself for dealing with somebody 20 years ago on 2 items, I just really question whether that's necessary.
you know something, I thought of the same thing, but in effect, what it amounts to is that we have, through our relationship on putting asphalt down and whatever, we considered each other to be friends. We basically, over the years, had gotten to know each other. We talked about church that he attends and I attend, which are completely different. But basically, in a situation like that, so there wouldn't be any indication of bias one side or the other.
You know, I'm not doubting your decision. I'm just saying, I wonder if that really is a valid reason for you to
Well-
recuse yourself. Would you be forced to recuse yourself?
That's a good question. I had thought about asking legal counsel in
Yeah.
a situation like this. What is a prudent thing to do?
To a certain extent, it depends because there are 4 of you here. If there were only 3 of you here, I might want to be a little more generous. If you take a look at Rule 8.5 that you had me put into your local rules, it talks about, I pulled out of the judge statutes kind of the things that apply at the administrative hearing level. And it's basically an individual ethical decision, and you can be more picky about avoiding even the appearance of impropriety when you still have 3 board members if you do choose to
Right.
recuse yourself. But basically what I pulled out here and put in the rules for you is that You may recuse yourself whenever you feel that your recusal would further the interest of impartiality, or you believe that there's substantial doubt as to your capacity to be impartial, or a person aware of the facts might reasonably entertain a doubt that the board member would be able to be impartial. You do have the duty to give yourself to recuse yourself when it's appropriate, but the judges get mad at each other when they recuse themselves all the time. So you also have a duty to participate when you feel that you can be impartial. And that's the closest I can come to telling you what your duty is.
I just was really thinking that it was not, doing business 20 years ago was not something that I would consider hurting your independence. But
Not in a small county. I mean, you're inevitably going to know people who come in. So that alone, no, I would agree with you.
Just discussion. I don't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
have a strong feeling.
But there are times when one board member will recuse himself or herself where another board member would not. And, I just want to respect those, especially if we've got an alternate available to have a full panel.
In a situation like this, where we do have an extra board member, we have a short calendar, it seems as though it would be prudent if you had friends that popped up. And, when I first took this position, I never thought that I would have that many conflicts. And it seems like all of the people that I've dealt with show up. Not all of them. Some of them have I can see that they have had an application and they withdrew, and I never saw them in the appeals process.
Have any of you managed to recruit somebody else for the vacancy?
I've given you one suggestion and nobody will go after her, so.
Did we tell Supervisor Worthley about the one?
Supervisor Worthley, we put ads in the paper a couple of times.
Yeah.
We sent out press releases. We just can't seem to get
Yeah,
anybody interested in filling the seat.
Now, this vacancy shouldn't be as hard to fill as the one on the retirement board. It's not as demanding.
I still like, and here again, basically, when you come down to, and I've been thinking about this, we've got all four of us are numbers people. Mm-hmm. If you get an attorney, they could be numbers people, or they could not be numbers people.
Crystal, find us an attorney.
No,
You're
no,
in the
I'm
local
saying
bar
that, because
association.
we've discussed this before, is that I've seen other assessment appeals boards with attorneys on them.
Yeah.
And I thought that they were doing an excellent job.
I suggested to Crystal that she find us one last year when she was president of the bar association.
We have time for cross-examination?
Contamination, yeah.
A retired attorney would be excellent as a mix, because we do have, I think we have an excellent board, and these, one of the things that if you give us some information, the board has capability of understanding what they're looking at, okay, and that's to their credit. But if we did have an attorney, that would be a nice mix, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can be an attorney, an appraiser, a broker.
CPA. Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Very good. Assessment Appeals Board for March 17th, 2014 is now adjourned.
Hey, gentlemen?
You have a nice St. Patty's Day. Love your hat.